Nobody expected the hammer to fall this hard. Not on Jay-Z, not like this. 1 minute you're thinking about tour dates, champagne deals, streaming numbers. The next, you're slapped with a $1,600,000,000 0 cents court judgment, and suddenly your entire empire feels like it's balancing on a broken toothpick. That's what just happened when a man named Ramir, who's been quietly claiming for years that he's Jay-Z's secret son, walked out of court with a jaw-dropping legal victory. And this wasn't some gossip headline or speculative post on a forum. This was real. A court of law said, yes, your claim holds weight. And with it came a number that could shake the financial bones of one of hip-hop's richest kings. It's not just about the money, though. It's about what that number symbolizes. Because $1,600,000,000 0 cents isn't just a check you write. It's a red siren screaming through every boardroom, every branding deal, every private jet meeting that Jay-Z's past might finally be catching up to him. And worse, it's dragging his present and possibly his future down with it. Ramir's victory didn't come out of nowhere. For years, he'd been knocking on legal doors, asking for a DNA test, for acknowledgement, for any kind of response. Jay-Z, on the other hand, played it cool, said nothing, stayed above the noise. But now the silence is a liability. The strategy of ignore it and it'll go away just backfired. Hard. This win isn't just a courtroom victory for Ramir. It's a public declaration that Jay-Z's carefully curated image of control and dominance has a crack in it. A big one. And then there's Beyonce. Imagine being the queen of perfection with a brand polished to a mirror shine. Every appearance, every campaign, every Instagram post curated to the pixel. And now you're pacing through your mansion, lawyers whispering in corners, assistants scrubbing headlines before the kids wake up. Her team, known for being tighter than Fort Knox, is reportedly in overdrive, trying to keep this nuclear leak from melting everything she's built. She's reportedly given an ultimatum, behind closed doors: settle this, clean it up, or everything, including the marriage, is up for reevaluation. It makes sense. For Beyonce, the brand is everything. If Jay-Z's mess spills into her world too long, it's not just embarrassing, it's expensive. Endorsements stall, partnerships freeze, media narrative spiral. She can't afford to be collateral damage in a fight she didn't pick. But here's where it gets messier. Because now that Ramir has proven David can beat Goliath in court, the floodgates might just be opening. Another name, Leticia, is back in the headlines. For years, she's claimed she's Jay-Z's daughter. Her story was always treated like a fringe rumor, the kind of thing you find buried deep in internet threads, but not anymore. Sources say her camp is suddenly full of life. The whispers say she's preparing to take legal action too. And if that happens, Jay-Z might not be battling $1 billion lawsuit, but two. And that's when things could start snowballing. Because the industry isn't blind. They're watching. Marketers, investors, brand managers. Everyone who has a stake in Jay-Z or even Beyonce by association is rechecking their contracts, running numbers, holding emergency calls, because the threat isn't just financial, it's reputational. And in a world built on image, a single narrative can burn 10 years of legacy to the ground in 10 minutes. Leticia's story is different from Ramir's, but it cuts just as deep. She grew up in a quiet Maryland town where people whispered about who her father might be. Not in a vague, speculative way, in a we all know but nobody says it out loud kind of way. Her mother, reportedly battling serious health issues most of Leticia's childhood, never took the legal route. But Leticia, now grown and fed up with being sidelined, might be ready to step into the spotlight. And after watching Ramir succeed, the path doesn't look so impossible anymore. What makes Leticia's situation even more volatile are the rumors that Jay-Z has quietly supported her for years, allegedly buying her a house and paying bills under the table with one unspoken condition: stay quiet. No public claims, no photos, no interviews, just silence. But if that arrangement ever existed, it's on the verge of shattering. People in her circle are hinting that she's holding on to receipts, texts, emails, possibly even financial records. And if she drops those into a courtroom, the fallout would be catastrophic. Jay-Z's silent strategy is officially broken. The old playbook, let the lawyers handle it, don't give it energy, doesn't work when billion-dollar judgments hit headlines and alleged secret children keep multiplying. This isn't some messy artist beef drama. This is bloodline-level chaos, threatening to implode the image of a man who's been treated like rap royalty for decades. And the business side? It's starting to panic. Corporate partners are ghosting. One luxury brand that was planning a joint launch with Jay-Z reportedly pulled the plug without a press release. Others are said to be freezing campaigns, scrubbing his image from upcoming rollouts. Jay-Z's name used to guarantee credibility and cultural clout. Now it's starting to trigger nervous glances in boardrooms. Because when there's even a whisper of underage allegations, of paternity scandals wrapped in court victories, brands run. Beyonce's team, meanwhile, is said to be working overtime on two fronts: brand defense and potential exit strategy. Her career is a billion-dollar machine on its own. Fashion lines, perfume empires, film projects, global tours, all of it runs on an engine of perfection, and right now, the person she built that empire beside is threatening to bring the whole thing down. She's caught in a trap of optics. If she supports Jay-Z too visibly, she risks being accused of endorsing silence and denial. But if she distances herself too soon, the headlines turn to "Beyonce abandons husband in crisis." Either way, she's bleeding something: money, power, trust. The timing couldn't be worse, and the pressure is suffocating. And then there's the one angle no one wants to admit: what if there are more? Industry veterans are quietly asking that very question. If Ramir was legit, if Leticia has proof, who else might be out there? There have been whispers for years, women who never made it to court, rumors dismissed as clout chasing, but now, in the shadow of a legal win this massive, every dismissed story gets new oxygen. The refusal to take a DNA test, once written off as a celebrity privacy move, now looks less like privacy and more like strategy. And that strategy is collapsing. Jay-Z's brand is no longer just about music or business. It's about what kind of man people think he really is. And the more these claims pile up, the harder it is to hold the line. Not just for him, but for everyone tied to him. The empire isn't crumbling quietly, it's shaking from the top down. Rock Nation, Tidal, DUC, all the glimmering pieces of Jay-Z's billion-dollar legacy are suddenly sitting under a shadow no press release can fix. Internally, teams are scrambling. Departments once laser-focused on expansion are now caught in survival mode. People who once bragged about being part of the Rock family are laying low, unsure how long the shield of his name can still protect them. Behind the scenes, it's worse. Sources say investors are getting cold feet. One sports management deal that was weeks from closing just got iced indefinitely, and whispers from inside the tech space suggest that Tidal, already shaky in a cutthroat streaming market, could become a liability if tied too closely to Jay-Z's unraveling image. You don't build companies on the backs of perception and then expect them to hold when the public turns. Beyonce's side has already moved to insulate her brand. Her social feeds have subtly shifted. Fewer photos with Jay-Z, no shout-outs. Brand collaborations that once centered around the power couple are quietly being reframed around her alone. Even her inner circle is reportedly being instructed to avoid any media comment, any mention of the situation, complete lockdown. She's seen what a poorly timed quote can do, and she's not going to let her legacy get dragged down by association. What's terrifying for Jay-Z isn't just the headlines, it's the silence. Longtime collaborators who once would have rushed to his defense have gone radio silent. No public endorsements, no solidarity posts, no statements. Rihanna, Ye, even figures like DJ Khaled, all noticeably absent from the conversation. It's not just caution, it's calculation. In an industry where guilt spreads faster than truth, staying neutral is the safest move. And for many, being seen defending Jay-Z now might feel like standing on quicksand. And there's the wild card, 50 Cent. Never one to miss a shot, he's been going full throttle, posting memes, jabs, and thinly veiled shots at Jay-Z's refusal to take a DNA test. It might seem petty on the surface, classic 50 antics, but the impact is deeper, because when someone with that level of influence turns a legal battle into a punchline, it spreads fast. Suddenly, it's not just a court case. It's a trending topic, a joke at brunch, a meme in the group chat, a slow decay of respect. And while everyone's watching the headlines, another angle is beginning to bubble under the surface: the connection to Diddy. A civil lawsuit against Diddy recently amended to include Jay-Z as a co-defendant in a disturbing case involving underage assault. That detail alone has triggered full-blown panic in the inner circle, because now we're not talking rumors, we're talking federal-level accusations. Things that trigger subpoenas, testimonies, NDAs being ripped open, and if Jay-Z's name is even remotely tethered to something of that magnitude, the fallout won't be just business, it'll be generational. What happens next is anyone's guess. He could settle, he could fight, he could disappear for a while, let the noise die down, but the stain has set. This isn't just a PR crisis, it's a legacy crisis. The man who once stood at the top of the music industry with the image of a calculated kingpin is now being seen as a man cornered, spinning, trying to stop 1,000 cracks from shattering the glass floor beneath him. And no matter how powerful you are, once that image breaks, it never goes back to what it was.